In 1938, a family gave their house away. They wanted to create a place where people could enjoy art, gardens, and time together. Over 90 years later, people are still doing just that. Welcome to Philbrook, where some say it feels like the paintings come to life, and the floor lights up with glowing color as you walk across it. And the gardens, whether you visit during the daytime or at night, when the stars are out, become a world of their own. But let's start at the beginning. Walk in the front door, and the rotunda, a round open room with a ceiling over 40 feet high, greets you. Look up. You may find yourself beneath a work of art. Turn to the right. Walk just a few steps, and you're in the original villa. Built decades ago as a home for a family, the villa is now home to works of art. You're surrounded by works of art created by artists living today, works created in the past, even art thousands of years ago. See places as artists imagined them, with a paintbrush and canvas. Some show landscapes that may seem familiar, while others take us somewhere new through bursts of color, line, and shape. Discover art made out of unusual materials, things that may surprise you with the stories they have to tell. And just like when you were in the rotunda, don't forget to look up. There are surprises everywhere here. Meet people, stop and notice the details. You'll find they've been hiding in plain sight. Peek into the library and discover a globe chandelier that hangs from the ceiling, glowing from within. Wander through the music room and imagine you can hear the notes from a piano filling the air. Slow down, take your time. And when you find something that interests you, stop. Look closer. Stand in the Great Hall and see what magic you can find here. Close your eyes and hear how the organ must have sounded as the notes vibrate throughout the house for everyone to enjoy. Follow the water. See where it takes you. The fish will be happy you came to visit. Look out from on high, then get down low and see what or who you can find. Stroll along. Make sure to stop and smell the flowers all around you. Keep exploring. Did you find the garden yet? Crispy carrots, tangy tomatoes, figs. So many things grow here. And just like in so many stories, there's a cabin surrounded by trees. But this one, well, it's not like any cabin you've ever seen or heard of before. If you stick around at night, well, this cabin glows too. At Philbrook, you never know what you'll find next. Whether you love art or nature or just having fun, you are always welcome here.
Hi, welcome to Philbrook. My name's Tracy, and today we're going to take a look at a work of art called Equestrian Portrait of King Philip IV by an artist named Kehinde Wiley. But before we get started, why don't you take a look on your own? Thanks for taking a look. Now let's talk about it. The painting itself is really big, and there's a man sitting on a horse, looking out at us. With the painting being so large, it's almost like he's in the room and on a real horse. We're transported to where he is, outside, with dirt under the horse's hooves, surrounded by a tree and leafy vines, some of which seem to be growing over the surface of the painting itself. The leaves are light green, dark green, and yellow, and the vines almost look like they're alive and ready to grow out beyond the painting and into the gallery. We see the tree to the left of the man, and behind him, in the distance, we can see the shapes of mountains and blue skies that look a little stormy with a mix of white and gray clouds. The man up high on the horse has a long view into the distance, but he does seem to be looking at us too. His horse is rearing back on its hind legs. However, the look on his face and the way his shoulders are relaxed let us know that he's in control. The horse, with its rich brown coat and black mane and tail, saddle, and golden bridle, is really fancy looking. And in fact, the painter was inspired by a work of art that showed a king on a horse looking into the distance. However, he chose to paint someone new in his work of art. The man we see is someone living today, someone the artist met and asked to pose for this painting. He wears his own clothes, which include a camouflage printed cap and a camouflage patterned jacket and pants. His shirt features flower designs, and he wears a gold chain and a red heart pin. His sneakers are white with polka dots, and he sits with confidence as we focus on him as the center of the entire scene. Before we go, I have one more thing to tell you about the artist, Kehinde Wiley. Did you know that President Barack Obama chose Kehinde Wiley to paint his portrait? That work of art hangs in the National Portrait Gallery, which is a museum in Washington, D.C. Well, thanks for spending some time in the galleries with me today. Hope to see you at Philbrook sometime soon.
Hey, what's up, friends? My name is Austin. I am a horticulturist here at the Philbrook Museum. I just got done spending some time in the galleries, and it was really great. I had some time to slow down and look really closely at things. And now I'm going to go out into the gardens and go on a nature walk and look really closely at some stuff too. Come with me. Okay, friends, right here we've got some rosemary. Now, I know this is rosemary because I've been doing this a very long time. So when you're out looking at stuff, you want to make sure that you know what it is, and you want to be 100% certain. So make sure when you're with your adults that they're like, oh yeah, this is a plant. So I know this is rosemary. I'm going to smell this and pick it. I'm going to roll it in my hands like this. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a great, great smell. It's used in cooking a lot of times. I see some other stuff over here. Let's go over here. Okay, let's check out this guy right here. This one right here is actually wood sorrel. Wood sorrel is very common in lawns, and you can find these anywhere. They have yellow flowers. They look kind of like clover, but it's actually in the genus Oxalis. Oxalis meaning oxalic acid, and it's very sour. You can eat these sometimes, but I wouldn't recommend it because it could hurt you, so make sure not to eat them. Great plant. Let's move on to the next one. Another great plant. We're here with this anise hyssop. So if you get really closely here, you can actually see some really amazing details. So right now we're in the fall, and we're going from more of the flowers, which are purple here, to more of the seeds, which start to turn brown right here. And if I open these up, you'll actually see a whole bunch of tiny, tiny seeds. And as a horticulturist, I've been spending my time making sure I'm collecting these seeds so I can plant them and have more plants for next year. Another one of the amazing things about this plant right here is you can see the leaves are starting to change their colors. So they go from a deep, deep green, and then they start to yellow a little bit into those lighter greens, and then all of a sudden they'll start to turn brown. This entire plant is extremely, extremely fragrant. So once again, I'm gonna find that, smell it. It's great. Kind of smells like black licorice. Good or bad, you decide. All right, friends, so now we're gonna look at some of the stuff I went and collected on my nature walk this morning. I want you to think about this as kind of like collecting art. When you collect art, like up in the museum, we kind of take a while to get familiar with it, to really learn about it. And so right now we're going to take just a little bit of time to look at the things that we went and collected on that nature walk, and then talk a little bit about them. So the first thing I have here is this oak leaf hydrangea. It looks like an oak leaf. This is an oak leaf here, kind of similar, right? Has different lobes on it and everything, but the greatest thing about this is that the veins here, right in the middle, and the veins are running off, you can see where it's really green and healthy, and then you can also see where it's starting to change color. So later on, you'll end up with something like this, and you'll see all these other compounds that are present throughout here throughout the year, but then they start to turn a different color because there's no more chlorophyll. So the other thing that I found on my nature walk, super cool. We have a whole bunch of native bees here in Oklahoma, and they'll leave little clues around that you can go find. So one of the other clues that we have here is this right here. This is a redbud tree, and so what you see on the ends of these leaves right here are all these perfect little, they look like hole punches. But these are actually from the bees using the little mandibles, or little pinchers right here, to cut off all these little circles. And so they'll leave these, but what they're doing is they're taking this away and they're going to use it in their nest. So all of these leaves are telling us something. They're telling us what lives on them, how they grow, what kind of sunlight they like. Maybe they like a little bit of shade, maybe they like full sun. But they also tell us what kind of trees they're going to be. So we know that this right here, this is a bur oak, and we know, oh, like a little hat, we know that these are going to have your other, they're going to produce other little trees once they're planted in the ground. And a lot of the time, the squirrels will plant these in the ground. This is an evergreen. It looks like a tiny pine cone on here. This is from a larger tree. This is a larger pine cone. But these coniferous trees, these evergreen trees, they'll have these little pine cones, and that's how they reproduce, unlike the oak trees that have these bigger pine cones. You also see other things out there if you go and collect them and take time to look at them. You'll see stuff from sycamore trees that look like these little balls here, and then sweet gum trees that are on these little clusters here, and they're kind of pokey. Don't throw them at your friends though. But it's great to go and pick these up and explore them and take time to look at them a little bit closer. Hey, what's up friends? We're here in the greenhouse right now. There's still so much to go explore outside. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here as well. We actually right now, we have all of our tropical plants in here. This is Chrysandra, also known as firecracker flower. It's all the way from Sri Lanka, and now it's here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's so many things that you can go explore outside, and we really want to empower you and encourage you to go out, collect things, and create art. Now we're going to go out and we're going to visit our friend June, and she's going to show you how you can go collect things from nature and you can create art with it. Have a good one.
Hi, my name is June. I'm the Chief Registrar here at Philbrook. That means that I keep track of all the artwork and take care of it. I'm also an artist though, and I'm out here in the gardens today to make artwork out of materials found in nature. And that can be things like leaves, acorns, flowers, sticks, and rocks. And let's go find a few things now. So the really cool thing about this is that you can do it almost anywhere during any time of year, and your materials are constantly changing. So right now I'm in all of the fall leaves, and I'm just going to look for some that really stand out with beautiful colors. I like to find multiples of things, and also to challenge myself to find new things that I haven't used before. And a helpful tip, bases of trees are also a really good place to find little weird things. Now we're going to use the materials that we gathered to put our artwork together. I like to make mine symmetrical, but that's not necessary. You can make it any kind of way you want. You can make a face or an animal or a butterfly. But I like to do mine symmetrical, where one side is the same as the other, and I usually start in the middle with the things that I only have one of, and then build around that with the things that I have multiples of. Making these little nature artworks is a great way to take a break, connect with nature, and discover new things. You can find beauty and the opportunity to make artwork all around you.
Hello, welcome to Philbrook. I'm Roselle. Today we're going to take a look at a work of art called Tie Quilt No. 2 by an artist named Elizabeth Talford Scott. But before we do, I want you to take a closer look all on your own. Thanks for taking a quick look. Now let's talk about it. This large, colorful quilt is nearly 6 feet tall and hangs in the gallery where you can see it right when you walk in. The fabric comes off the wall in several areas so that it almost feels like the quilt is in motion, moving away and back toward the wall, behind it again. The shape it makes is organic and unique. When you look closer, you can see that the artist has created the quilt by sewing together men's ties of many different colors and patterns. At the top of the work, one of the ties shows a family crest, which is a similar shape to the entire work of art. There's also a few shiny knots in the upper right corner that remind the artist of roly-polies. She loved to reference the land and even bugs in her art, inspired by her home state of South Carolina. The artist, who learned to sew from both her father and her mother, liked to collect things from people she knew and use them to make her art. For this piece, she used more than 40 ties. However, as you spend even more time looking at the details, you can see she's also used other small objects to embellish the piece, things that she collected or that were passed down to her from family members. We can see glimmering buttons, shiny colorful thread, strings of beads, and other things. Her father, a railroad worker, used to bring home discarded scraps of fabric and buttons from textile mills. Her practice of using materials she found to make art became something people came to recognize and love about her art. Her daughter also became a famous artist, and Philbrook has works of both mother and daughter in its collection of art. Before we go, I have one more cool thing to tell you. This is the largest work of art that Elizabeth Talford Scott ever made. It's over 6 feet tall, which is really, really taller than I am. So I hope that you'll get a chance to come back. Thanks, and we hope to see you at Philbrook soon.
Hey everyone, this is Tracy again. This time, we're going to take a look at a work of art called Eternal Return by an artist named Jeffrey Gibson. But just like last time, let's start by taking a look on our own. Thanks for taking a look. Now let's take a look together. The sculpture sits atop a block of wood in the middle of the gallery. That makes it easy for us to walk around the entire work of art and find all kinds of details as we look closer. There's so much to look at. The artist was inspired by many things when making this work, including dolls of all kinds. At the bottom of the legs and over the feet, we can see colorful rows of pink, purple, white, and brown beads covered by blue mohair or rabbit fur. We can also see rows and rows and rows of jingles along the sculpture's feet, legs, hips, shoulders, and head. The jingles are small metal objects that are cone-shaped, and they appear in silver, gold, and copper tones. You can imagine how if this sculpture came to life, the jingles would hit one another as it moved, making metallic noises. In fact, the artist was inspired by dancers at powwows he used to attend as a boy. At those gatherings, native dancers wear jingles as part of their regalia, or special clothing, so that they make noise while they dance. He was also inspired by dancers he saw in New York and London, where people experimented with fashionable clothing to express who they are. Along the arms of the sculpture, you can see brass studs and quartz crystals hang from the cuffs of its sleeves, laying on top of the hands. The face of the sculpture is decorated with beads, that form a pattern of circles that start in the middle and get bigger. The many materials the artist used to create the work reflect the many people and ideas that inspired him. He has brought together many things to make something completely new and exciting. I have one more thing to tell you about Jeffrey Gibson, the artist who created Eternal Return. After he created works like the one behind me, he actually started to design costumes for dancers that they then wore during performances. Well, that's all for today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon in the Philbrook galleries.
Welcome to Sing Along Saturday here at the Philbrook Museum. I'm Mr. Simon with Hot Toast Music Company, and today I'm standing in front of this really cool statue of a bunny. Look at this thing. Boy, this statue makes me think of a lot of things. I have a big garden at home. If you follow Hot Toast Music Company, you know I love to garden with my boys, and we have a family of bunnies that lives outside of our garden. And these bunnies are some of the bravest creatures I have ever known. In fact, just last night, one of them climbed our chain link fence. We have about a 5-foot fence, and it climbed over the fence to get in our gardens. And I am really starting to feel like Mr. McGregor trying to keep these bunnies away from all of my beans and squash and sweet potatoes. They just keep coming back. They are literally fearless. And it really reminded me of one of my favorite Hot Toast music songs, and I wanted to share it with you today. This is called If You Want to Be Strong.
If you want to be strong, then be kind to everyone. 'Cause there's gonna come a time when it's hard to be nice. So remember what it means to be strong. And if you see someone fall, stop and help them up. Tell them that it's going to be okay. Use the power of your words to make someone feel good. 'Cause this is what it means to be strong. Alright, Bunny, this one's for you. If you want to be brave, then try again. If you make a mistake, or don't give up if you get stuck, keep believing in yourself. 'Cause this is what it means to be brave. And if you're ever feeling sad, just give your back a pat. Remember that we all have bad days. Don't just hide inside your shell. Find a friend and ask for help. 'Cause this is what it means to be brave. You know. Now if you want to be heard, then be sure to listen first. When everybody gets a turn, there is so much we can learn. So listen if you want to be heard. When you quiet your own voice, you make room for someone else, so they can do the same in return. Everybody has 2 ears, so they're extra sure to hear. So listen if you want to be heard. So listen if you want to be heard. Woo! Sing it, Bunny. Woo! Thank you. I've learned a lot from you. And I'll see you guys next week.